Yeah, well, contact lenses are depending on the quality of your tear film and depending on the actual lens material, they all vary in their ability to hold water to the front surface. And that's where contact lens manufacturers spend an enormous amount of money and time on research in trying to maintain wettability, that they call it,
Mm.
across the day, because the contact lenses do actually place more strain, for want of a better word, on the tear film itself. So it's asking your tear film to be in better condition than it would be if you weren't wearing them. And so you can have someone who might be relatively symptom free, not wearing contact lenses because they've got a dry, like a early signs of dry eye that they're not quite aware of. You put a contact lens on and now they're starting to sort of feel the symptoms. And so that's part of the troubleshooting we go when we're looking at people being candidates for contact lens wear. And then if you start to get into some of the complicated optics, you've obviously got a lens that is designed to hug and sit in front of the eye, but it does move. And we want a little bit of movement, but too much movement starts to move the optics around. It starts to cause buckles and wrinkles in the front surface of the lens. And so you get some general sort of aberrations from those sorts of events. Some lenses need to sit the right way in terms of being tilted on the eye the right way. And so if your eye starts to dry out, then your eyelid starts to grab the lens and spin it and turn it. And so you can get this kind of variable vision. And then finally, you get into the really complex optics of multifocal lenses, which is what I wear. And, if I've got a particular brand, I have preferred brands I do okay, and I've got some brands that I don't wear because the for me the vision drops off as soon as they get even a little bit dry, whereas other brands where not as noticeable, and it's because they've got these highly complex optical surfaces in order to give you that depth of focus that you might want to enjoy if you're trying to avoid wearing glasses like I do.
I know it's probably a lot less common these days, but for anyone who does wear the rigid contact lenses, so-called hard contact lenses, is dry eye a much bigger, or does it make wearing those type of lenses much more problematic?
It can be a bit mixed. Certainly, you can sometimes use soft lenses as an example, as almost like a bandage lens, where some people
Mm.
might actually get less symptoms when they're wearing the lens because there's less of the actual eye itself being exposed and there's moisture being held underneath the lens. Certainly, what will tend to happen with the hard lenses, not necessarily that they dry out any quicker. It's more that they move around a lot more on the eye, and so they're a bit more susceptible to issues occurring once you start getting dryness. The biggest challenge with the hard lenses is getting people to get comfortable initially to wear it. And so any additional factors like dry eye, it's more about how well they adapt to the lens in the early stages rather than is there a big difference in long-term dryness between one and the other, because we can actually use one or the other on a particular patient to solve a comfort issue. So it's not a sort of black and white, hard lenses are better or soft lenses are better. It really depends on the situation, but a lot of it comes down to what's the journey like when you're first, getting used to wearing contact lenses.
And there are things like hybrid contact lenses, aren't there, which maybe give you the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and so there are again another complex lens where they've got a hard center and a soft surround, and they're designed to reduce the feeling of that movement that you get from a hard lens by having a soft skirt on the outside. And they tend to, being a complex lens, they tend to get reserved for complex corneal cases rather than a problem solver for everything.